to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Ve'asuli mikdash ve'shachanti betocham va'anachnu nevarech ya me'ata ve'ad olam. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon Adon Lechol HaShalom וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon Adon Lechol HaShalom.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, פסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, פסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני
מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב,
שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Greeted this Shabbat evening by Harry Belafonte, sadly now of blessed memory, who passed at the age of 96 this past week, welcoming us with the words of Hine Matov, a verse from the Psalms of fellowship that embodies his legacy as a civil rights icon. Welcome to Shabbat services here at Central Synagogue. We say hi to those of you not just joining us in our sanctuary, but of course to our broader virtual community. We are also blessed by guests this evening. Where's Rabbi Josh Winston and his 8th grade class from Temple Beth Emeth in Ann Arbor? By the way, Rabbi Winston and TBE are the future home of our rabbinic intern, Chelsea Fuchs. I am Rabbi Dan Ross, joined by my wonderful colleagues, our senior Rabbi Angela Buchdahl, Rabbi Ari Lurch, Cantor Jenna Pearsall, Rabbi Sarah Berman, and Rabbi Mo Salth. We're also, what? I almost made it in one breath, that is true. Also saying a dear welcome to Dr. Shani Silverberg, our synagogue president, and offering our sincerest gratitude to our musicians and to our entire events, AV, technical operations and security team for making these services possible. And at this time, if you have some device that might take you out of the presence of the sacred time of Shabbat, we invite you to turn it off, or at the very least turn it on airplane mode. And now that we've had a chance to greet you, we invite you to warmly greet those around you and say Shabbat Shalom. We continue by bringing a little bit more light into the world this Shabbat as the sun sets, and we ask our candle lighters to come up. Evelyn Aaron Rich, Alexandra Waskolnikova, Cece Cohen, Max Cohen, Dylan Spitalnik, Spencer Spitalnik, Rosa Agabs, Maxime Agabs, and Bernice Lazare, who will be lighting the candle this evening in honor of her 97th birthday. You can come up right over here. We continue with the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat, starting with Lechuna Ranana on page 12 in your prayer book or on your order of service.
Lechuna Ranana l'Adonai, Nariya Litzor Yishenu. Lechuna Ranana l'Adonai,
continue with Shiru Ladonai on page 13.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהרה מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסו מיום ליום ישועתו. כי כל אלוהי העמים מלילים, אדוני שמיים עשה, הוד וחטא לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסו מיום ליום ישועתו. ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירום הים ומלואו, יעלה שדי בכל אשר בו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסו מיום ליום ישועתו.
We bring Kabbalat Shabbat Shalom to a close with the words of Lachadodi on page 20, singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, rising on the 9th verse to turn to the door and greet Shabbat.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבורך, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה,
Standing and turn to page 146 for Baruch Hu. Please be seated and join with us in the Hebrew on page 147. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poter sha'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, misader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotam barakia kirtsono. Bore yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבי.
Amen. In each age we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment we are addressed by the world.
In each age we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment we stand face to face with truth.
In each age we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment the knowing heart is filled with wonder.
In each age the children of Torah become its builders
and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
It's now my pleasure to call up Nolan Mallow Baker to be named in front of our congregation. We'll let your parents come up with you too. Nolan, it is such a joy to welcome you to the world and into this community specifically. It feels like it was not that long ago that I stood under the chuppah with your parents for their wedding, and their personal vows included the wish that they would build a family together. And so now you are their dreams realized. You've been an especially meaningful ray of light for this family after the loss of Alden's father, Brad, just a little over a year ago. Your parents wanted to give you a Hebrew name in his honor, but not in the traditional way where you look for a B name for Brad. No, instead they are connecting you to Brad's spirit animal, the hummingbird, with the Hebrew name Tsufit, which is hummingbird. Brad had a special kind of language with birds, and hummingbirds specifically. These tiny creatures would just gravitate to him and even land on him. And even as Brad suffered from an illness that would make his limbs shake, he always was remarkably calm. And the hummingbird, too, is very calm. It's the only bird that can appear to be staying perfectly in one place. But in order to do so, what we can't see with our naked eye is that it's actually beating its wings so furiously, so fast, 60 beats per second, that we can't actually see that. And Alden likened this to her father, where stability for him came from constantly moving. And your English middle name, Nolan, is Mallow, for Matt's mother, your grandmother, Susan. Mallow was her middle name, and now it's also yours. And you will hear stories of how much she loved your dad and how she pushed through the many challenges in her life. So tonight, Nolan Mallow, Tsufit, our hummingbird, we welcome you to your larger family, not just the extended Baker, Reese, Gutkin clan over there, but your whole Central family, your Jewish community. And we are so thrilled to meet you, and we want to welcome you with this blessing the whole community will offer. I just don't know how you're going to do this because you looked a little scared about me, but let's see. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha k'ni ratzon. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka k'ni ratzon. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God shine light upon you and be gracious to you. And may you always feel a sense of God's love and peace and the love of this whole community. And we say amen. Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
I think we're going to have to ask Nolan to come back to every service from here on in. There's too much light radiating from you and your beautiful parents. We'll continue on page 152 with Mi Chamocha.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you?
Service in the middle of page 2 for words of Hashkivenu, praying for peace and shelter for us, for our brothers and sisters in Israel and its neighbors and around the world.
Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'shalom, L'shalom, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'shalom. V'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim u'l'shalom, u'l'shalom. Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'shalom, ufras aleinu, Sukkot Shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, L'shalom. Adonai, Eloheinu, L'shalom.
We return to our prayer books to page 155.
Adonai svatai tiftach, Adonai svatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehillah Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei HaKol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, פוי מדום מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ששמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We now continue silently, be seated or standing with the prayers found in our own heads and hearts. We can also use the prayers found through page 167 in our Siddur.
It's amazing how being in community makes us feel. It comforts us, it heals our spirits, it brings us strength. When we are in distress, there is nothing like being among those who care for us. And in a community like this, even if we can't always see each other's faces. Community is a place that offers us safety, where we can rest and where we can heal. This week, our community prays for the safety and the rest and the healing of Nancy Goldstein, Howard Cascal, Lisbeth Carolina Madera, Carol Olmsted, Jerry Shapiro, and Joel Wexler. If your body and your spirit or your soul are in need of healing and comfort and strength, or if you are thinking of a dear one who is in need of these prayers, I invite you to share those names aloud so that we can hold them in our prayers with our own. Misha Berach for healing can be found on the order of service.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe berach imotenu mikol
We are not just any community. We are a community of Jews. And as Jews, we never let ourselves be completely consumed by the sorrow, the sadness, the illness, or the struggle. Community holds us when we're down and also lifts us up in our joy. In this community, immediately after we support one another in struggle, we share this moment of gratitude every Shabbat evening. So I'm going to invite you to stand and remain standing if you are able, as I name joyful experiences that might apply to you, until we are all standing as one community, united in joy. So if you are becoming B'nai Mitzvah this weekend, or if you love somebody who's becoming B'nai Mitzvah this weekend, I invite you to rise. If you are celebrating a new baby or a new marriage, if you are celebrating your birthday in the week before or the week ahead, or an anniversary, or an important friend-iversary, or a pet-iversary, they're important to mark. If this is your first time at Central Synagogue, I invite you to rise. That's amazing. Welcome, everybody. If you noticed new green leaves this week or took time to smell a flower, I invite you to rise. Or if you, like me, are barely making it through what feels like the worst allergy season in years, please rise. Or if you are just so full of joy that this is once again Shabbat and we are here together as a community, please rise as we join together in Shehechianu on our order of service.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Please remain standing.
Yes, as we celebrate the upcoming marriage of Rebecca Nathan and Andrew Roberts, please join me up on the bima. Rebecca and Andrew, we are so thrilled to see you both here and to celebrate your upcoming marriage before this congregation. I think your relationship could be described as a typical New York City intermarriage. East Sider marries West Sider. Rebecca, you grew up here at Central. Andrew, you grew up at Road of Shalom. I'm happy to say clergy from both congregations will be officiating the wedding. Rebecca went to Horace Mann, Andrew went to Riverdale. You went to brother and sister camps, Viga and Laurel, which shared a lake. It felt like you were both living parallel lives in interconnecting worlds, but somehow just missing each other because it wasn't quite time. Rebecca's brother and Andrew's sister even shared a mutual, very close friend, but you still never met because it still wasn't time. The right time was apparently right before the pandemic. You had about 5 dates together, enough to realize that you had so much in common and that you really liked each other, and then the world shut down. And this enforced lockdown helped strip away all the distractions and accelerate your relationship. You learned that you not only shared a lot of common experiences and interests and even friends, but the most important values, family being at the very top. And if there ever was a cosmic sign that the two of you should become family, God gave you one. Because Andrew's middle name, Nathan, is Rebecca's last name. And so when you marry, she will make that maiden name her middle name. And so you will both share the middle name of Nathan, or Natan in Hebrew, which means gift, which is surely what you are for each other. May you continue to grow in love and in strength together. May you feel the gift of having found each other after being in parallel universes and now coming together. May you feel the blessing of many communities showered upon you as we do tonight. Bring you in. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha ken yehi ratzon. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka ken yehi ratzon. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God shine light upon you and be gracious to you. May you always feel a sense of God's peace and love. Amen. We remain standing as we bring the Torah and this young couple and our B'nai Mitzvah and I hope our baby and parents to greet the congregation.
כל הנשמה תהליה
Please be seated. So many beautiful babies and joyful feeling in the room. So we are in Parshat Kedoshim, otherwise known as the Holiness Code, because it begins with God's mandate, be holy, for I, Adonai, your God, am holy. And then it lays out some of our tradition's most noble and righteous commandments, such as the law to leave the corners of your field for the poor, not putting a stumbling block before the blind, and the preeminent mitzvah of being holy, love your neighbor as yourself. These laws are so compelling that we read them on Yom Kippur, which is the holiest day in our calendar. But what we don't read on Yom Kippur are some of the more head-scratching laws that are also found in this Torah portion, like don't let your cattle mate with other species, or don't shave the corners of your beards or side locks, or don't wear shatnez. If you don't know what shatnez is, it's a clothing mixture of wool and linen. Huh? God cares about my grooming and my fashion choices? Why is that holy? The rabbis understood that this portion had two different kinds of laws, hukim and mishpatim. Mishpatim, or judgments, are the self-evident ethical, moral laws that any rational human being who wants to be an upstanding, holy person would follow. The ones like love your neighbor as yourself. The hukim are the God-given rules whose purpose you cannot exactly discern through moral reasoning. It's like when your mom tells you to make your bed and you say, why? And her answer is, because I said so. For many more observant Jews, the reason to observe the hukim could be stated just as simply, because God said so. There is a humility and a surrender to not always having a rational reason for following one of the hukim. And their observance can become a discipline, a way to show faithfulness to something bigger than yourself. But not particularly satisfied with that line of reasoning, Reform Judaism pretty much did away with the observance of the hukim, like shatnez, and the laws of kashrut, or wrapping tefillin, finding them not only somewhat irrelevant from our viewpoint, but maybe embarrassing and distracting even from the moral laws that we felt truly led to holiness. These views are deeply reflected in our culture today, the most secular and highly rational in American history. Do you know that the fastest growing religious group in America today are the nuns? I don't mean Catholics with a habit. I mean no religion, none. And more people, younger generations especially, find religious ideas outdated, irrelevant. The pursuit of holiness feels quaint and archaic. Last month, the Wall Street Journal released a study on American values with some startling numbers. 25 years ago, in 1998, 62% of Americans said religion was very important. Today, that number is 38. In 25 years, it went from being a strong majority to about a third of Americans. In 1998, 70% of Americans said patriotism was meaningful. Today, that number is 39%. 25 years ago, 59% said that raising children was very important to them. Today, that number has dropped to 30%. In 2019, the value of involvement in a community was at its highest at 62%, and today that number has fallen to a record low 27%. In fact, the only value that has grown across the spectrum is the priority of money. 43% saying it's very important, up from 31%. I know, I'm also distressed about that. Whew. Now, if you were to look at the Wall Street Journal survey, you would see a country in what I would call a holiness decline, with vastly diminishing regard for the value of patriotism, religion, creating families, or serving communities. Is it any surprise that today we are also seeing record numbers of lonely and isolated Americans? That deaths from despair are at the highest level they have ever been in American history? Time and again, studies have shown that the antidote to despondency and loneliness is not just companionship, it is recognizing and engaging with something bigger than yourself. A family, a faith, a nation, a community. Meaning comes from serving something beyond yourself. And if you want to do that, well, the Holiness Code is a good place to start. The moral laws of Mishpatim offer a roadmap for meaningful living. But perhaps we should also go back and take a look at some of those hukim as well, the ritual laws of our tradition. For those strange, non-rational laws can also play a role in encouraging holiness. Doing something because God said so might remind us that not everything we do is just because we feel like it. Not everything is ours to control. This thought became very vivid for me at the memorial service of Phil Basser this past Sunday. Phil was our avid live streamer who celebrated his 105th birthday with us here in the sanctuary before he died just days later. When Phil was a young soldier in the trenches in World War II, he promised God that if he made it out alive, he would rap tefillin every day. Now, Phil was not an Orthodox Jew, but he kept his promise every single day. Tefillin, I think, served for Phil as a spiritual technology, reinforcing in him every day a discipline, a gratitude, and a humility that carried him throughout his life. And every week, Phil blessed his children on Shabbat. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May God make you like our ancestors, Sarah, Esther, Devorah. At his memorial service, 3 generations of his family spoke of the power of being blessed by him. Now, there's no rational explanation for why this incantation actually did anything, but through that simple act, he conveyed that they were protected, that they were loved, that they were part of an epic Jewish story. Through it, he transmitted holiness. Phil's service ended with 2 soldiers sending Phil off with military honors, folding the American flag and presenting it to his family in gratitude for his service to our country, fighting in 2 wars. As the soldiers saluted, there was not a dry eye in the house. I can't tell you exactly what enabled Phil, whose mother died when he was only 3, who was raised in a Jewish orphanage, who served in 2 wars, had 4 children and lost one of them to cancer young, could live every day of his life with optimism, joy, and a sense of blessing. But I know he lived a life of holiness, and I think that this was core to it. Phil's life was a reminder of the blessing and meaning that comes when you serve your country, when you love your family, when you uphold your faith, and when you give back to your community, the very values that are diminishing in our country today. But Mishpatim, the moral laws of our tradition, and perhaps also the hukim, the ritual laws, which remind us to do good things just because perhaps they are our roadmap for our way back. For the honor of this Aliyah, I want to call up a group of people who have served their community, our faith, and Central Synagogue with such distinction, and this is the group of our Emeritus Board of Trustees. We get to honor our board once a year when we install them. And this is a beginning of a tradition we wanted to have because there are people in this community who carry the collective memory of this congregation and who at different stages have carried Central through many different crises and joys and growth and change. And we are so grateful that so many of them continue to be an active, important part of our community. So I'd like to call up all of our former trustees for the Aliyah to the Torah. This is an impressive bunch. So happy to see you all.
I will be chanting tonight from Leviticus 18, verses 1 through 4, which can be found on page 885 of your blue Torah commentary. You can find it in front of you or underneath you if you're in the front row. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Hamborach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher batar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el bnei Yisrael va'amarta alehem ani Adonai Elohechem. Kema'aseh Eretz Mitzrayim asher yeshavtem ba lo ta'asu uchma'aseh Eretz Canaan asher ani mevi etchem shama lo ta'asu ufchukotehem lo telechu. Et mishvatai ta'asu, v'et chukotai tishmeru lalechet bahem, ani Adonai Elohechem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam lata b'toheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
So on behalf of the clergy, the staff, and this whole congregation, we want to offer our deep gratitude for the service you have given to Central Synagogue over the years. On this bima is collectively hundreds of years of membership in this congregation and many, many hundreds of years also of service. And to look at you is to know and to see people who have not just done their service and left, but are still deeply a part of the fabric of this congregation. I feel like you are our roots that give us the strength to continue growing. So thank you for modeling for us a life of holiness. Please rise as we give honor to the Torah.
V'zot ha'Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael. Api Adonai
Please be seated. To be part of a congregation is in some ways to know that we're inhabiting a place that was once filled by someone else and will be, God willing, taken up by another when we are gone. Echoes of memory. Echoes of memory are what surround us each and every time we enter this sanctuary. And this week, among the names that we recall is our former executive director, Barry Kugel, of blessed memory. For over 2.5 decades, he stewarded this congregation, and many of you can still picture his face as you would enter the sanctuary. He'd be there greeting you when you walked in. And some of you shared that the reason you joined or first felt welcome here was him. His life blessed Central Synagogue, and now his memory is a blessing. We remember him, and we remember also these dear ones who died in recent weeks. Stanley Chadsey, Mort Twatsky, Robert Davis, Edith Rosenwald Goldman, Howard Gross, Norma Hirsch, Helen Horn, Phyllis Landau, Edward Meyer, Jerome Modelow, Wallace Musoff, Lloyd Needle, Marjorie Oberlander, Nikki Peck, Floyd Runninghawk, Mary Ellen Salop, David Siegel, Martin Singerman, and Laura Zakin. To their names we add those whose yahrzeits occur on this Shabbat: Michael Berger, Billy Billig, Edward Blackman, Jesse Brand, Gertrude Cantor, Shirley Chanowitz, Seal Cohen, Murray Cohen, Saul Cohen, Christopher Conway, Rhoda Cooper, Nolan Crane, Sylvia Dembeck, Bert Disson, Miriam Dubin, Lillian Fink, Bennett Fishman, Maurice Friedman, Harry L. Fuchs, Iris Gare, Joseph Gluck, Rose Rosen Goldman, Leonard Goldstein, Samuel Greenfield, Eugene Gross, Melvin Hackle, Lee Hecht, Morris Hellenberg, Alex Hochberg, Roberta Himes, John Indick, Suki Jacobs, Maurice Jaffe, Jerry Kolkstein, Ernest Kelly, Jacob Khalil, Louis Cones, Zelda Kruder, Harvey Kruger, Shepard Cussell, Mildred Landy, Estee Lauder, Jack Lockwood, Jeanette Meyer, Stanley Mursky, Ida Middleman, Mary Noon, Zenas Noon, Doris Peltier, Max Rabiner, Kurt Reinsberg, Barbara Rosef, Henry Rosenzweig, Barney Sable, Litza Schlanger, Myrna Schloss, Avraham Schechter, Sheila Schenfeld, Sheila Sherwood, Steve Siegel, Stanley Silverman, Bruce Stern, Eva Talley, Stuart Turner, Joseph Wagner, Matona Weisvogel, Shirley Werther, Harold Wolf, Peggy Wolfson, Donald Zinn, Melvin Zuckerman. And we'd invite you to share loved ones whom you're remembering at this time, or if you're in a period of Shiva or Shloshim. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for a blessing. We'd invite those who are in the first 7 days of mourning their loss to rise. And mourners who are within the first 30 days of mourning their loss to rise. And the mourners in our midst who are within the first year of their loss to rise. And those who are with us observing a yahrzeit, we invite you to rise. And now we, your community, will stand to surround you as together we share words of Kaddish Yatom on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yoteh ve'amlich malchuteh, b'chai echon v'yom echon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei alamaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
So long as we live, they too shall live. They are now a part of us. They are now a part of us. They are now a part of us as we remember.
Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. My name is Neil Weinberger, and I am a former confirmation student and a proud member of Central Shamashiming program. Following tonight's service, everyone is welcome to join us downstairs in the pavilion for our Oneg Shabbat. Save the date, Friday, May 12th, for a special Shabbat service as we honor and thank Rabbi Nicole Auerbach, who will be leaving Central in June to join the Union for Reform Judaism. We will miss her, but are excited for her to foster meaningful Jewish life for individuals and families across North America. Mazel Tov to our B'nai Mitzvah, Charles Agab, Ilyana Frido, Eli Raskolnikov, and Spencer Spittleneck. Please join us on the Bima. We also invite all kids under the age of Bar Bat Mitzvah to come up on the Bima and help us lead the Kiddush and Motzi blessings. The Kiddush can be found on page 5 of our prayer books.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei puri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho ve'ahavu ratzon hinhiranu zikaron le'maaseh bereshit. Ki hu yom tehillah lemikra'e kodesh zeher l'tziyat Mitzrayim. Ki banu v'ahata ve'otanu kiddashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodesh ve'ahava u'ratzon kinhaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai me'avesh HaShabbat.
Amen. And we bless the challah together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. We close with the words of Adon Olam.
Page 321, please join with us. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra v'yein nasa v'chefzo
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.